What are tipping points? Imagine you're playing a game of Jenga. Initially, the tower is strong. Humans amend the environment by removing blocks, weakening the tower, and eventually, a critical block will be removed, and the entire tower will collapse. That block was the tipping point. Tipping points are climate thresholds caused by global warming, where a tiny change causes irreversible consequences. So, global warming. In 1980, the global temperature deviated 0.25 degrees Celsius higher, and into the year 2000, that was 0.4 degrees. In 2020, that was a staggering 1.05 degrees. Following this trend, 2030 could see a deviation of 1.77 degrees Celsius. Well-known examples of tipping points include the Amazon rainforest and numerous ice sheets around the globe. In the Amazon, another factor that also contributes to the tipping point is deforestation. In 2004, 27.5 thousand square kilometers were deforested. This number has been gradually declining, but recently has rapidly increased to 11,000 in 2020. Every day, millions of people are deciding to neglect this critical issue and to convince others to neglect it as well. As a result, there is a clash of perceptions of climate change and a lack of action. Climate change is being pushed beyond the point of no return. Time is running out to push it back. There are numerous stances people have been adopting regarding climate change. 3 of the most common views are climate change is a major threat, climate change is a minor threat, and climate change is not a threat or not real. This divergence in views is how the issue has arisen and was able to create a breakdown in the normal state of climate and planetary operations. Now, due to the interconnective power of technology, anyone with an opinion can gain a massive platform and influence millions of people. But whether or not they're telling the truth is often up to chance. More people started supporting the idea that climate change was a minor threat, or even not one at all because it's helped their own agenda. And because these people have a wide audience willing to listen, their biased views were quickly taken on as scientific fact. But demographics affect this too. In a 2018 global survey, subjects were asked their opinion on the threat of climate change. The top 6 results are countries that are developed, have an adequate economy, and a decent government. But on the other side of the spectrum, in countries with a lower quality of life, less flourishing economy, and unstable government, perceptions are less canonical. Likewise, these same 3 countries all have around 20% of citizens who completely dismiss climate change as a threat, and the other 6 have much lower results compared to the above. As a direct result, climate change action was stalled by the wave of differing opinions and the lack of awareness of the true state of climate change, hence the degradation of the normal climate conditions at an increasingly rapid rate. It has only been in recent years that we have seen the devastating effects of climate change on our planet. Our acceleration of the greenhouse effect has driven average temperatures as much as 1 degree above pre-industrial levels, and by 2040, that figure is set to reach 1.5. While a couple degrees might not seem like much, the domino effect this temperature rise sets in motion is truly terrifying. 2 years after the discovery of climate change, there were less than 20 natural disasters recorded every year. In 1988, when climate change was first addressed in a testimony to the US Senate, there were 230. In 2021, there were 401. Increased rate of natural disasters isn't the only effect of climate change though. Over the last 130 years, water levels have risen an average of 0.06 inches per year. However, since 1993, that has doubled to almost 0.14 inches per year and is set to increase exponentially. In 2019, 3 islands went underwater, including the island of Tebonjiniko, previously home to almost 400 people. These are real problems affecting real people, and before too long, it could be you in crisis. How close are we to climate change's point of no return? Over the last 5 years, the term point of no return has been thrown around very lightly, but we can assure you that it is no relaxing phrase. The point of no return is in fact the largest threat humanity has ever faced. The reason why this threat is so imminently disastrous is that it is a quiet one. Without immediate visual evidence, human beings have been uninspired to act. Sadly though, because of our inaction, this devastating milestone for humanity is scheduled just 13 years from now in 2035. The point of no return will mean the mass suffering of up to 3 billion people. Every year, these people will be subjected to extreme heat waves, droughts, flooding, sea rise, and extreme drops in biodiversity. but with a combined effort from everyone, we will be able to stall climate change long enough to stop it completely. With massive efforts, we will now be able to buy an extra 7 years, and continuing this effort 7 years again. These efforts will allow time for us to completely reverse the effects of climate change and begin our sustainable relationship with planet Earth. To have a chance at a bright future, we need to act now. Climate awareness is one of the most important areas to maintain accountability for our actions and to make sure everyone is doing their part to prevent the climate crisis. As individuals, we need to be vigilant with our carbon footprint and reduce it as much as possible. We can all reduce our footprint, starting with installing solar panels, switching to electric cars, and reducing food waste. In our local communities, we need to act to keep people aware of their responsibility to our planet and keeping all of us accountable for our individual responsibilities. Our government, at all levels, needs to be acting to reduce the country's carbon footprint through harsh penalties for high carbon emissions and heavily subsidizing carbon-positive products. As a global community, we need to be holding our governments accountable and sticking them to the Paris Climate Agreement. We need global cooperation at unprecedented levels. Then, and only then, will it be possible to save the world. Over the past few decades, we've seen a huge amount of people join the belief that the climate emergency is real and that we can stop it. In the 1910s, when climate change was first discovered, nobody knew and nobody cared. There wasn't even any reason to take surveys because the positive results would be negligible. In the 90s, climate change made the front page news, and 4 years later, 165 countries signed an international treaty on climate change, with the UNFCCC meetings occurring 25 times since. But intense lobbying by fossil fuel companies prevailed, and there was a great inaction by the governments and misinformation circulating throughout the public. Today, the majority of people all over the world understand the threat of the climate emergency at hand. We are seeing data collection and worldwide cooperation at a level never seen before. In 2015, there was an ambitious international treaty called the Paris Climate Agreement, and over 190 countries are being held accountable to it. We are seeing tremendous work done, and that means that we may just have a chance to save our home.